All right, welcome into another edition of Skers Scoop. Today we're going to be reacting to the commitment of four-star defensive back Jailen Hill of St. John's Bosco in the suburbs of Los Angeles. He becomes the third blue chip secondary addition in the Huskers 2027 class, and things are really starting to look up for Nebraska's defense overall. After receiving the commitment of Errol DeMontagnac on the defensive line this past weekend. So, Elliot, I'll go ahead and pass it off to you on who Nebraska beat in this recruitment. But obviously, anytime you're adding a four-star defensive back, there's a lot of top schools that are coming after him.
Yeah, so obviously, he had interest from schools all over the country. He was a guy I think that was a little bit more highly rated around this time last year, and has seen his, I think, stock with other programs slowly decline a little bit. I was trying to figure out why that was, and I think I figured it out with just thinking back to Danny Odom's kind of recruitment. And I know Danny Odom was underrated, but had offers from everybody, and I had always wondered why. And we saw his stock rise a lot there at the end of his recruitment, and I think it was because of his size. And a lot of people question if Danny Odom could put on the size to, play at the next level. And he definitely did that to end his senior season. And then even when he got onto the campus at Nebraska, I think he was around 190 or 200 by the time he got on campus. And I think that's kind of a concern here with Jailen Hill. Usually if you're looking at a guy who's 170, which is what they say on 24/7, it isn't that big of a concern. But when you're 6'2" or 6'3", being 170 pounds is a little bit more just concerning, just because at this rate, you want to see a guy like him put on some weight, especially some muscle. I'm not saying he can't, but I feel like that might be why his rating has declined a little bit, just because his size in the weight department hasn't gone up as much. But just he's gone. He had an OV, I think, scheduled with Washington, maybe, I think it was this past weekend, but he didn't make it in. And so obviously things went really well here with Nebraska. I feel like they've been favored here for a while now. And just another opportunity to showcase how good of a recruiter Addison Williams is, with Corey Hadley, Torrey Pittman, and now Jailen Hill. And obviously we are pre-recording this, so Bryce Williams could or could not be a part of the class at this point too. So, and even with a few targets left on the board as well. So I'll let Will give his thoughts on the commitment as well.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of researching about this kid, I think this would be a really good pickup, obviously. One of the things I'd like to point out, I mean, he has a really big wingspan, 78-inch wingspan, and especially as a DB, being able to get your hands up, swat that ball down, and like you said, his stats back it up. 6 interceptions last year, 1 return for a touchdown. So, I mean, I think he's still a 4-star. He's still a California recruit. I think he's going under the radar a little bit, but Nebraska should be all in to get this kid, and I don't think Addison Williams will back down. So, yeah, just also one more thing I'd like to point out is his press ability as a cornerback. Insane, super physical. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go ahead and get to the film, but just kind of piggybacking off of that, I think you're right too. I mean, when you're watching the film, it's really evident how sticky he is in coverage, and he also has that awareness. Like that interception right there in the background is insane. I mean, I was telling Elliot, I actually sent it to him on Instagram, and I was like, this is one of the best interceptions I think I've ever seen. So, I mean, he's freaky athletic. He's got the awareness to, look for the ball when he knows it's coming to the receiver that, he's in coverage with. And then just, the ability in the open field and athleticism that he displays when he's returning touchdowns like that. I think he's a high upside athlete, and Nebraska, is just kind of stockpiling talent in the secondary right now. So I think it's great right there. He's a solid tackler as well, and he'll help out in the run fit, which is very important for Nebraska. They struggled last year against the run. I think they ended the season ranked 98th nationally, and we don't have to speak on it because hopefully it's not as big of an issue this upcoming season. But anytime you can add a player that helps out in the run game and then is really sticky in coverage, it's a great versatile addition, and it's one that Nebraska needed to make. So we're really exciting.
And I'd just like to build off your point, especially saying, helping out in the run game. I feel, watching a lot of the games last year, obviously, a common theme, I think, with the issues in the run game was the secondary, specifically safeties being able to fill their hole in the run game and making tackles.
Absolutely.
We saw Marquise Buford miss a few tackles, and I think he got benched for a little bit just because of missing those type of plays. You see here Jailen Hill playing boundary corner, and some 24/7 has him listed as a safety. I'm sure that Nebraska will utilize him in whatever role they want. And so seeing that on film, him coming up and making a play is really good, just because some corners are kind of shy or scared, I guess, of contact, just because some of them are a bit smaller too, and they're corners. They just want to cover, run around with the guy, cover, and get an interception like you just saw there again. And so it's good to see guys like that. Even Trevor and I watched Bryce Williams' film too. If he ends up in the class as well, he's pretty physical as well. Does a great job working through the hands at the catch point. So, this is another just a guy who the ball just kind of seems to find him a lot of the times too when he's in coverage, which is with how the luck of Nebraska has gone in recent memory. You would just like the ball to find its way into our defenders' hands more often than it does too, especially this past season. I feel like we didn't have a lot of interceptions, but I'll let you guys give any more thoughts that you have on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and just kind of build off of that. Nebraska, I think they finished the regular season ranked third against the pass in defense, but I think they ended up with maybe only like 6 interceptions on the year. So getting a guy like this who had 6 interceptions on his own, it is in high school, so you don't know how well that's going to translate to college, and he's still got a senior year ahead of him as well. But a guy like that obviously has the ball hawk skills that he does, and then again, like his ability to return after make a play with his feet after he catches the ball to give yardage, field position to the offense is going to be super big if he can translate that to Nebraska as well. Just seeing as how many times Nebraska is losing the field position battle, which obviously last year was special teams that helped out a lot. They didn't give up a lot of punt return yards or kickoff return yards. So they actually did significantly better than they have in the past. But a guy like that can go get you 25, 30 yards, maybe not score the touchdown, but make a play in the open field and give you, just some extra yardage to make it that much easier for your offense to go down and at least get a field goal is going to be super big. So I think if he adds on that weight, he's going to be a really good player. And, he's only, 17, maybe 18 years old. So we'll have, a couple more years to potentially grow, get even taller, and then, add 20, 25 pounds onto his frame as well before he sees the field. So super exciting. And I guess, Will, I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, but, I think we've covered it up. Yeah.
Okay. So, the third addition to the secondary, things are looking really, really good on the back end of the defense. And I guess we'll just leave it at that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Leave a like, comment, and we appreciate your time.